The last couple of weeks I've talked about a topic which I think is really fundamental to our humanity. And that topic is really simple. It is the most basic understanding you have to have as a human being to have any kind of life at all. It's really simple. You have to understand that every human being is in this world for one reason and one reason only. One, we are in this world to grow. We're in this world to grow. Just like every other living thing on this earth, we are here to grow. Now, I have a pretty good idea about what that means by now. If I were going to make it really simple for you, I would say we are in this world to grow what? To grow love. It's more complicated than that, but let me just keep it really simple. We're in this world to grow love. Because if we really understand about growing love and we try to practice that, then the rest of the understanding is going to come to us. Because my first talk was we're in this world to grow. That is an understanding that will allow you to make contact with and grow in the awareness of what is absolutely essential about our existence that is infinite and eternal and never goes away. And in that experience of what is infinite and eternal, what never goes away, you will find such peace and such strength and such richness in the experience that you're having that you call your life, that it will, on a regular basis, blow your mind. Happily. Just like my experience with my mother. My mother was a fundamentalist Catholic. I grew up going to church 6 or 7. Actually, I grew up going to church at least 12 times a week and sometimes 14. Until I got my driver's license. Then I never went to church again. For one thing, I never bought into I could never get into the Catholic thing of us and them. We're saved and they're not. Even when I was like this high, I thought, that is such bullshit. I mean, it was really like unbelievable to me. And talking about, rich experience and unimaginable possibility, which is a term I'll get to in a minute. My mother lived the last 6 months of her life here. And when she passed, she was completely beyond that us and them bullshit. Totally beyond it. She had come to really understand that life was very simply and essentially about one thing, and that is love. My mother, the Catholic. And while she held to the model that she was operating in, her Catholic model, she also completely transcended it by understanding that anybody who could really open their heart was going to find a complete release from tension and an endless renewal of the richness, the aliveness in their life. That is what the term saved refers to. That's so amazing. I could have never expected it, except that when you understand that you're in this world to grow and you're really trying, your primary value is not get a job, is not, get a relationship, is not make a family, is not whatever it is people do. And you really understand that in all those things are about, you're doing those things, but there's really something deeper than that you have to be doing in yourself to make those things rich and meaningful experiences. Otherwise, it's just a struggle. And that one thing is growing. The next thing is, I talked about last week, people will, sometimes people say, I don't know what it means, I don't understand how to do it, how to grow. So last week, remember, I reminded you that, in fact, there is a place inside you that knows. There's a place inside everybody that knows. Just like nobody had to explain to that tadpole and that egg that came together in your mother, nobody had to explain to that tadpole what to do, or that egg, and nobody had to explain to it, oh, look, you've got to become this person. Nobody ever had to tell a seed, oh, you got to become a tree, and this is how you got to do it. There's a manual over here, how to become a tree. All seeds must read. Right? I don't think so. Because there is a place in everybody, a place deeply in your heart, in your real heart, deeply, that knows. What we're doing here is, the work we do here is the work of peeling away the tensions, peeling away the self-doubt, peeling away all of the struggle, and coming into connection with that place in our heart, that place deeply inside us that knows what it needs to do. And this is not an intellectual knowing. It's not like you're going to suddenly have an answer. Open your heart and read the book in there. It's not like that. This isn't something that you will ever be able to intellectualize. It is, in fact, something that this knowing is energetic, and it will guide you. It will, in fact, lead you. You will, as you do your inner work, and you open your heart, and you cultivate in yourself all the qualities of a loving person, as you experience the sweetness in yourself and the joy in yourself that is there every single day and dependent on nothing except you knocking and opening that door. As that extraordinary fineness comes out of you, it will lead you into all the things that you need to do to unwind your tensions, to complete yourself, and to be released from all of the tensions and all of the limitations of your family life. You will find in yourself, you will be able to draw to yourself all the nourishment that your parents never had to give you, that their parents never had to give them, that their parents never had to give them, all the way back to the beginning of time. We transcend the limitations, the disappointments of our ancestors. The thing I want to say tonight is very simple also, and that is, first I want to know, we're all here working hard to get what we want, right? How many of you are succeeding at that? How many of you are getting what you want? Chuck, I'm so pleased for you. You guys have been practicing for a long time. You don't count. Because you don't want what most people want. The thing is, okay, so maybe almost nobody gets what they want. I got to have a talk with you, Chuck, because I'm not getting what I want. How are you doing that? I've never gotten what I wanted. I've ended up always getting so much more. Actually, that's true. The reason why I asked that question is because in growing, mostly, we get in our own way. Our life has a life of its own. And this body and this mind are effects, they are effects of a deeper aliveness in us. A condensation, a materialization of a deeper aliveness in us that is an unimaginable possibility. That deeper aliveness, sometimes you can, in a great work of art, or in the body of work of a great artist, you can look at, I was talking about Van Gogh yesterday because, I think Van Gogh is so extraordinary. But there's a bunch of people. You could look at the body of work of Van Gogh and see, here's somebody who took paper, schmutz, pigment, smeared the schmutz and the pigment on the paper, and made images that were really incredible. Created colors, created images, created motion in the images that was, to me, mind-blowing. But, we could shift gears and say, well, let's look at the work of, Michelangelo or Leonardo da Vinci, or Miles Davis or Dave Brubeck. There is something in the work, something present in everyone that occasionally an artist of some kind will make contact with and bring forward, will find a pathway, a pathway for expressing what's inside them will be revealed to them as they turn their attention inside and search their hearts and souls for the purpose of their existence. Our life has a life of its own. It is bigger than you. It is bigger than me. If you will begin to simply start to make contact and hold the awareness of the simplest expression of life within you. What's the simplest expression of life within you? Thank you. The breath. Your breath is the simplest, most essential demonstration of your aliveness. You breathing. You're alive. And just holding that awareness of the breath moving in you. How many ever thousand years ago people started, probably millions of years ago, somebody just paid attention to their breath. And in paying attention to their breath and feeling the energy of that breath move in them, they discovered their heart and all the other energy centers inside them. And as they paid attention to those energy centers, they had visions and understanding of the nature of their reality that completely rocked them and transformed their experience totally. Your life has a life of its own that it wants to express through you. It has nothing to do with anything that your parents ever taught you. Nothing to do with anything my parents ever taught me. When you make contact with your own heart and that place in you that knows what it wants to do, and you have the courage to hold that space, it happens to be a space of love, then what your life will become is what I call an unimaginable possibility. Unimaginably rich and unimaginably beautiful. My teacher used to say the mind is the slayer of the soul. And what he meant by that is, all the crap going on between our ears has nothing to do with anything at all. And it's only when we can live in contact with our heart and hold that space of unconditional love that is within us deeply, that we are creating, we are allowing a pathway to be revealed to us that will facilitate the expression of a life experience that is so rich, so refined, and so beautiful. That we will find we'll experience our lives rather than a struggle as an experience that we are grateful for every single day. This is available to you. This is available to you. It's not free. There's no free on earth. Nothing is free. What it costs you is your own effort. Nothing else. Don't cost no money. You haven't got it. No human being has enough money to pay for it. It is your own effort that it's going to cost you. If you're willing to work at it, if you have the courage to believe in yourself and reach deeply into your own heart and soul, sustaining that effort, you will find yourself completely transformed and a joy in you and around you that will transform the lives of every life your life touches. My own opinion is, and of course this is my life, I deeply am committed to growing, and I totally believe we are in this world to grow. And the reason why I still sit here after 45 years of endless grief for wearing an orange dress, the reason I still sit here is because I deeply believe there is nothing more important in this world than growing. Nothing more powerful in this world than the human heart. And I sit here to support each of you in your effort to grow yourself and find within yourself the extraordinary capacity that is present within you. Every religion and every philosophy is just a model. And because it's a model, it's a mental construct, and I have just said something about mental constructs, which is they are inherently wrong. Every model is inherently wrong. That doesn't make them inherently useless, just because they're wrong. Even my model, I grew up a Catholic. I started practicing yoga. I have, by now, the model that I operate from would take about 3 or 4 days to explain to you. I'm sort of giving it to you now in a simple form. But, you know, it would be very challenging to fully articulate that model. My model has changed as I have grown. Your model should change as you grow. There are no rules, there are no regulations, there are merely suggestions, and in this endeavor to grow, mistakes are necessary. How are you going to grow if you don't make mistakes? And if we're growing love, well, the first part of love, the very, very first part of love is forgiveness. So I use a model that, you know, basically I use a model that was developed in India about 1,000 years ago. Let's say it came into its fullest development 1,000 years ago. But 1,000 years ago, those people who actually are amazingly consistent, you know, there's nothing in the model that I use that was developed 1,000 years ago that contradicts any of the science that we know about or we think we know about our world right now. Although, because we have instrumentation that is infinitely more sophisticated, they had no instruments except for their mind, their meditation practice, we can say certain things with much more confidence, maybe delusion, but we can say with more confidence certain things than they could. Our model has changed. Your model will change as you grow. There is nothing wrong with that. It's positive. There's nothing more important than growing. Develop your model, live in it, practice it, grow your heart, and live from the love inside it. Namaste.